Give me the numbers again. The Rockets came in losing how many games?
13 out of 14.
And they were playing...
No Christian Wood, who's arguably their best offensive player.
And they beat the Lakers last night. And the only game the Lakers have won since the All-Star break, they needed 56 points from LeBron James to do it. I mean, Monica, because they're the Lakers and because he's LeBron, I feel like on my show and many others, we keep saying, well, if this happens, and if... Do we have to just come to terms with the fact this team stinks and they're just bad?
Yes, I think we need to come to those terms. The big ifs to me are when you start talking playoffs because of who LeBron is. But similar to what you just mentioned about the Nets, Wendy, they would have to win 2. And I am now at this point more concerned about durability, stamina, energy, win 2 tough playing games, and then get to a first-round series. We saw literally that 56, next game he was out with the knee. And so it's not just LeBron being older. I think if there were a bunch of young guys around him, that'd be one thing. But Melo, Russ, like the whole thing has just not been a good fit all season. And it's a weird thing because even though they're a bad team, they are still a team with a target on their back. So for the Rockets, that was huge. For OKC, who maybe we should have credited way earlier in the year for pointing out that things were amiss in LA, that's a big deal. And so they still get teams the best shot, and they're just not up to par.
Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. So what does he do? Wendy, again, for those who don't know, I mean, you've basically been covering LeBron since he was in high school. He's always gotten himself out of bad spots one way or another, and I'm not sure he's ever been in a spot quite this bad. What does he do?
Yeah, so I've talked in the past about the way LeBron gives teams what I've called organizational fatigue, where they exhaust themselves trading, upgrading, trying to put a team around him. His first time in Cleveland, the last 3 or 4 years, they traded all these picks. They dragged themselves to the finish line with like an over-the-hill Shaquille O'Neal, an over-the-hill Antoine Jamison, an over-the-hill Ben Wallace. He left. He goes to Miami. They trade all these picks. They get to the end there after 4 years. It's like they lose that game to the Spurs and like half the Heat retired. Like 2 guys pretty much announced their retirement. I've never been in a locker room like this. I go in, Ray Allen, I think I'm retiring. Oh, let's walk 5 feet down. Shane Battier, I'm retiring. And then there was a couple other guys who ended up being their last game. So like organizational fatigue, they're just exhausted from the pressure of LeBron. Back to Cleveland, 4 years. They traded 7 first-round picks. That team that, at the end, Kyrie breaks off. They get to the end, they're like relying on Jeff Green to help them get there, okay? 4 years, organizational fatigue. Pull the ripcord. Los Angeles, 4 years, all these picks. But he left banners in the wake.
Right.
It's a grand bargain. So it's like going to college. After 4 years, they're fatigued. They're worn out.
Yeah.
They've traded everything. And in the past, LeBron's been young enough and his team's been mobile enough that he's been able to pivot. That pivot isn't here. He has 1 year left on his contract. They have nothing they can really trade of huge value. The most important thing for them to do is trade Westbrook. He has next to no trade value. It is going to take a Herculean effort and some luck to get this team out of it, and I'm not sure that Rob Pelinka has shown the ability to really execute under that kind of duress. It's going to be a fascinating summer.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.